Hello, leaders. Spring, I think, is finally upon us, and we're right in the midst of Lent. And I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you about a project I first told you about during the leader retreat in January. It's a project I've not so creatively called the Stories Project. It's an opportunity for us to begin telling the story of what God is doing in and through the Shepherd community. You see, I believe that stories have a unique way of capturing our attention and our imagination. They can be powerful and engaging. They can be personal and enlightening. Stories motivate us and move us in ways that facts and figures simply cannot do. Think about your favorite book or your favorite movie. Even the way we learn American history is all based on story. The Bible uses story to even tell us and capture us up in the story of Jesus. And so we learn about Jesus through story. Story is deeply rooted in who we are and how we communicate. My guess is that as you look around your small group on a weekly basis, the way people are communicating is through the use of story. What happened in their life that week. They tell a story about how they sympathize with something. Story deeply roots us and it connects us. It communicates in deep ways. And so like a good movie or a biblical parable, we want to begin telling the shepherd story. We want new people to hear and catch the vision for the heartbeat about what's going on at Shepherd. We want young Christians to hear about the faithfulness of God in the past. And we want all people to encourage one another to continue growing in their relationships with Christ. You see, the ultimate purpose of the Stories Project is to capture how Shepherd of the Valley is connecting all people to growing relationships with Jesus Christ. The Stories Project is capturing and telling the story of how we fulfill our mission statement. Because we know it doesn't just happen here in the building. Most often, the Shepherd community is out in the community. It's out in the world, in your homes, in your workplaces, in your neighborhoods, doing and being the hands and feet of Jesus. And so we want to begin to tell those stories here in this place in bigger ways. Now, if you followed the sermon series in the fall, Just Walk Across the Room, you already have a leg up on some of the rest of us, or those who didn't follow, because you've already taken time to think about and wrestle with your own story, how God has worked in your life. And so we can begin telling those to one another in new ways. But you, as leaders, have other stories you can tell us. You can tell us why you were motivated to start a small group. You can tell us your most impactful moments in your small groups. You can tell us about what's happening in the one you lead right now. Stories are big and small, they're short and long, but they all move us, they all tell us about what's going on. Maybe you have someone in your group, or maybe you can tell us about a great mission trip or a great missions project that you've done recently as you reached out in the community. And we'd love to hear about that because that's the heartbeat of who we are. And so the best way that we can communicate these connections that are happening and communicate about the growing relationships with Christ, I believe, is through the use of stories. And so will you join us? Will you start to craft your own story? If you know someone in your group, can you tell us or tell them that we would like to hear and capture their story? Because we want to begin compiling these, putting these all together. You see, throughout 2016, we're going to work hard on this project to capture these in a variety of ways. We want to begin using them in print and on the web so people can read for themselves the testimonies and the stories of the way God is working in and through their lives. We want to begin capturing video testimonies, video stories that we can play on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. And we can play in places like New Connections so that new people coming into this place, again, can hear the heartbeat and know how people are growing in their relationships. We know that God is working in and through this place. He has been working in and through this place for decades, and He will to come. We just want to begin tapping into the stories, tapping into the narrative of what God is already doing, so that we can weave it together and tell the story of this place and this community. So will you join us? Will you help us grow together as we learn how Shepherd of the Valley is connecting people to growing relationships with Jesus Christ? Thank you.